When you walk into a well-designed living room, you don't just see it, you feel it. There's an immediate sense of balance where materials, light, and proportion quietly work together to create comfort without excess. One of the most powerful elements in shaping that experience is natural daylight. A living room that welcomes generous sunlight instantly feels more open, more alive, and more connected to its surroundings. Large openings, especially those that visually extend into a garden, blur the boundary between indoors and outdoors, making the space feel expansive and calm at the same time. Materiality plays a crucial role in building this atmosphere. Instead of relying on a single finish, a thoughtful mix of textures adds depth and character. Imagine the contrast between a softly finished plaster wall and a surface of exposed stone, or the warmth of natural wood against the subtle coolness of polished surfaces. These combinations create visual rhythm without overwhelming the space. The key is restraint, letting each material breathe, allowing its texture to be appreciated in natural light. Furniture selection follows a similar philosophy. The layout should feel intentional, but not rigid, encouraging both relaxation and interaction. Low-profile seating helps maintain open sightlines, especially in spaces connected to outdoor areas. Soft, layered upholstery in warm, neutral tones create a welcoming base, while carefully chosen accent pieces, like a sculptural table or a textured chair, add personality without disrupting harmony. Equally important is the role of smaller details. Textiles, ceramics, books, and greenery introduce layers that make the room feel lived in rather than staged. These elements should feel collected over time, not overly coordinated. Indoor plants, in particular, strengthen the connection to the outdoors, especially when there's a visible garden just beyond the glass. Lighting beyond daylight should remain subtle and supportive. Instead of dominating the space, it should quietly enhance textures and forms, especially during the transition from day to evening. Soft, indirect illumination can highlight material richness without creating harsh contrasts. Ultimately, a living room succeeds when it feels effortless. It's not about filling the space, but about composing it, allowing light, material, and form to come together in a way that feels both grounded and refined. A bedroom at its best feels like a quiet retreat that gently separates you from the pace of the outside world. The moment you enter, there should be a sense of calm that comes not from emptiness, but from thoughtful composition. One of the most defining elements in achieving this is natural light. When daylight filters in softly, especially through large openings that connect to a garden, the room begins to breathe. It shifts throughout the day, creating subtle variations in mood, from a bright and energizing morning to a softer, more relaxed afternoon glow. Material selection plays a powerful role in shaping that experience. Instead of relying on uniform surfaces, layering different textures creates depth and warmth. A softly finished wall paired with a panel of natural wood, or the quiet elegance of stone against smooth plaster, introduces contrast without noise. These tactile elements are not just visual, they influence how the space feels on a sensory level, making it more grounded and inviting. Bed naturally becomes the focal point, but it shouldn't dominate the room. It should belong to it. Proportions matter. A low, well-balanced bed with layered textiles in warm, muted tones can anchor the space while maintaining openness. Surrounding elements like bedside tables or a simple bench should complement rather than compete. The goal is cohesion, where every piece feels intentional yet effortless. Furniture placement should allow for easy movement and clear sightlines, especially toward any outdoor connection. When a bedroom opens to a garden, even visually, it expands the perceived space and enhances relaxation. A chair near the window, for instance, becomes more than just seating. It becomes a place to pause, to read, or simply to take in the changing light. Decor should be restrained but meaningful. A few carefully chosen objects, perhaps ceramics, books, or a piece of artwork, add personality without overwhelming the calm. Textiles, like curtains and rugs, soften the room further, absorbing sound and enhancing comfort. Indoor plants can subtly echo the greenery outside, reinforcing that connection to nature. Lighting in the evening should transition gently, supporting rest rather than stimulating activity. Soft, indirect illumination works best, highlighting textures and creating a layered ambiance that feels intimate and restful. In the end, a well-designed bedroom isn't about visual impact alone. It's about how the space supports stillness, comfort, and ease, qualities that reveal themselves over time, not all at once. The kitchen and dining area is where a home truly comes to life. It's not just a place for cooking or eating, it's where routines unfold, conversations linger, and moments naturally gather. When designed thoughtfully, this space feels both functional and inviting, balancing precision with warmth. One of the most transformative elements here is natural daylight. When sunlight pours across countertops and dining surfaces, it enhances textures, reveals subtle material variations, and creates an atmosphere that feels fresh and energized throughout the day. If the space opens toward a garden, that connection adds an entirely new dimension, making the room feel larger, lighter, and more connected to nature. Material choices define the character of the space. A combination of surfaces, stone, wood, and smooth finishes creates depth without overwhelming the eye. A solid island with a softly veined surface can act both as a visual anchor and a practical workspace, while cabinetry and warm tones keeps the environment grounded. The interplay between these materials should feel natural, not forced, allowing each one to contribute quietly to the overall composition. The dining area, while closely connected, carries its own identity. The table becomes more than just a functional element, it becomes a focal point for gathering. Its scale and placement are essential, ideally positioned to benefit from light and views. Seating should be comfortable enough to encourage longer conversations, with textures that complement the rest of the space rather than competing with it. Layout plays a crucial role in how effortlessly the space functions. Movement between cooking, serving, and dining should feel intuitive, with clear pathways that don't interrupt the flow. When the kitchen and dining areas are visually connected, continuity in materials and color tones helps unify the space, while subtle variations keep it interesting. Details are what bring personality into the environment. Everyday objects, ceramic bowls, glassware, or even a simple arrangement of fresh ingredients can become part of the visual story. Open shelving, when used carefully, adds a lived-in quality, while greenery introduces softness and a sense of freshness, especially when it echoes what's visible outside. As the day transitions, lighting becomes more important. Soft, layered illumination can shift the mood from active to relaxed, supporting both functionality and comfort. The goal is to create a space that adapts, bright and energetic when needed, yet calm and welcoming when it's time to slow down. Ultimately, a well-designed kitchen and dining space isn't just about efficiency or aesthetics. It's about creating an environment where daily life feels effortless, where materials, light, and layout come together in a way that supports both routine and connection. A well-designed backyard has a quiet ability to transform how a home feels, extending daily life beyond walls into something more open, more breathable, and often more relaxed. It's not just an outdoor area, it's an extension of the living experience, where materials, light, and landscape come together in a way that feels both intentional and effortless. The first thing that defines this space is natural daylight. Unlike interiors where light is framed and controlled, here it moves freely, shifting across surfaces and textures throughout the day, bringing out subtle variations in stone, wood, and greenery. The foundation of a successful backyard lies in how the ground plane is treated. A thoughtful mix of materials, stone paving, gravel, and patches of lawn, creates rhythm and movement underfoot. Large format slabs can guide circulation, while softer textures like grass or fine gravel introduce contrast and comfort. These transitions should feel natural, almost intuitive, leading you from one zone to another without needing clear boundaries. Vertical surfaces also play an important role. Walls clad in stone, textured plaster, or horizontal wood slats provide structure and backdrop, allowing planting and furniture to stand out. These surfaces aren't just decorative, they anchor the space, giving it a sense of enclosure without making it feel confined. When paired with layered greenery, from low ground cover to taller shrubs and ornamental grasses, the environment gains depth and a sense of calm continuity. Furniture in a backyard should feel like an invitation rather than a statement. Low seating arrangements encourage relaxation, while dining areas create a place for gathering and conversation. The key is proportion and placement, ensuring that each element feels connected to its surroundings, whether it's positioned to catch the morning light or oriented toward a quiet water feature. Water, when introduced thoughtfully, adds another layer of experience. A simple reflecting surface or a gentle flow can soften the space, creating movement and a subtle sound that enhances the overall atmosphere. It doesn't need to dominate, even a minimal presence can have a strong impact. Decor elements should remain understated yet intentional. Planters, outdoor textiles, and carefully selected objects bring warmth and personality without overwhelming the natural setting. The goal is to create a space that feels lived in but not crowded, refined but still relaxed. As the day progresses, the backyard evolves. What begins as a bright, sunlit environment gradually shifts into a softer, more intimate setting. This transition is where thoughtful lighting becomes essential, quietly highlighting textures and pathways while maintaining the calm character of the space.